Welcome to the next video in this series. Today we are going to be talking about different types of operators, and we're going to use the console for this. So I want to represent it within the console to show you guys exactly how it works. So first we're going to start with type of, which we discussed in the last video, but I want to represent it in the console. So first we're going to try type of for a number. And 42 is obviously a number, so it prints out number. So let's try this for a decimal now. And that is still represented by number as well for a decimal. So let's try this with a string now. And this is a string because it is within the quotations, so that is correct. Let's try a Boolean value now. So as I mentioned in the last video, Boolean values are true or false values. So if I put true, it'll print out Boolean. If I put false, it'll print out Boolean. So that's correct. So now let's try undefined. Type of undefined equals undefined. So that's correct. So now we're going to do type of for null. So I mentioned this in the last video. So the reason why null is represented by an object, or it is an object, it's because that this is a major historical bug in JavaScript that's just never been fixed. So that is why null is considered an object. So I'll represent another type of object here. This is an object here within the curly braces. And then I'm going to represent an array. And an array is also considered an object. So I also want to show you what symbol is. Symbol is something we haven't discussed yet, but it's also a type of operator. And symbol is right there. It's another type. And now we're going to do big int. So we discussed big int last time, which big int is essentially a large number. So 123n is represented, or is a big int. So now I want to move on to addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and other mathematical operators. So we're going to start off with addition. So we'll start off with a simple one, 5 plus 3. That of course is going to equal the number 8. And then we're going to do an integer plus a float, which equals 12.5. So in JavaScript, if you're adding a decimal number with an integer number, the answer is always going to be a decimal value. So let's try this with string values now. Hello plus world equals hello world. So there's no space here, so to fix this, we're going to add a space right there, and we're going to do hello world. So now there's a space because I added a little bit of a space, one space after the O right there. So that's why that equals hello world now. So now we're going to do addition with adding an integer or a number plus a string value. So if you do this, the answer will be not what you expect. It equals 55. And this is because JavaScript converts the other value here, the number value, into a string, then concatenates them or joins them together. So that's why it equals 55 rather than 10. And if I do it the other way around, it still equals 55. So that is for addition. With subtraction, it's a little bit different. So obviously 10 minus 5 is going to equal 5. And then 10.0 minus 5 still equals 5. But then I do a string minus 5, and that still equals 5. So with subtraction, it's actually the complete opposite as it is with addition. So the string is actually converted to a number, and then you're subtracting it by the number. So that's how that works. Next, we're going to do a string value here, but a word minus 2, and that's just going to equal not a number because hello minus 2 is not a number. So now let's move on to multiplication. So multiplication, 4 times 3 equals 12. That's exactly what you'd expect. A string value 4 times 2 still equals 8. The 4 is converted to a number just like subtraction, the exact opposite from addition. And then we're going to do pi times 2, and that is not a number as well because pi is not a number times 2. And now let's move on to division. So division is 10 divided by 2, we'll start with, equals 5. 10.0 divided by 2 still equals 5. But now let's do a string value divided by 4, and that still equals 3. So it's the exact same as multiplication and subtraction, where the string is converted to a number. So we're also going to try 10 divided by 0, which equals infinity. Any larger number divided by 0 is going to equal infinity. And then 0 divided by 0 is going to be not a number. So now let's do remainder modulus. So we'll do 10 and 3. So this equals 1. So basically how this works is 10 divided by 3 equals 3.33, whatever, right? But the purpose of this is not to get the actual division answer. You want to get the remainder. So 3 goes into 10 3 times with a remainder of 1. So what the answer will be the remainder, because 9 is 1 away from 10, which 3 evenly goes into 9. So that's why it equals 1. So we're also going to try this with 25 divided by 5. It equals 0 because 5 goes into 25 5 times evenly. And then we'll do 7 divided by 4 equals 3. And this is because 4 goes into 7 one time with a remainder of 3. So the answer is going to be 3 since that is the remainder. So now let's do to the power of 3. So this is how you represent 2 to the power of 3, 2 stars, and that obviously equals 8. And we'll represent 10 to the power of 2 because 10 times 10 equals 100. But there is a simpler way to demonstrate this, and this is with using the command math.power 2 to the 3. So 2 represents the base and 3 represents the exponent. So the 2 to the power of 3 equals 8. So that's how that's represented. So now we're going to go back to type of, but for the operators. So we're going to try type of for 5 plus 3. And of course, this equals a number because 5 plus 3 is just the same as saying type of 8. And then we're going to do type of the string of 5 plus 3. And this is, of course, going to equal a string because this equals 53 rather than just 8 like we'd expect because it converts the 3 into a string. And then we're going to do type of 5 minus 3. And this will equal number, of course, because the 5 is converted into a number subtracted by 3 equaling 2, which is a number. And now we're going to try type of for multiplication. So we'll do 10 times 3, or 10 times 4 equals 40, so it's a number. And of course, if we tried that with a string as well, it would just print number because it converts the string value into a number. So now let's try type of 10 divided by 0 is still a number because it equals infinity, and infinity is a number. Then we'll do type of not a number, which is still represented by number. So the last thing I want to discuss in this video are comparisons. So we're going to go into a lot more depth about comparisons in the next video, but I want to show you 2 different variations of them right now. So we're going to do something called a loose comparison. So a loose comparison has 2 equal signs, and you want to represent 5 and 5. So basically this says 5 is equal to the string of 5. So this is true because they are both represented by the same number. But if we were to do absolutely equals, so this is called a strict comparison, it's going to be false because one is a number and the other is a string. So it doesn't take that into account for the loose comparison, but for the strict comparison, it will equal false because it takes into consideration that this is a number and this is a string. So we're going to go into a little bit more depth about stuff like that in the next video, but I just wanted to get you thinking about that before the next video. So this concludes the video, and for the next video, of course, we're going to be talking about comparison operators. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.